Ready to go, dude. Sweet.
So we are sitting here with Jen and Cameron from the agency, and gosh, thank you so much for coming all the way down here to see us and talk with us and open this up to conversation and getting to know you better.
Thank
So
you for having me.
yeah, no, we're honored and privileged, and I'm a little bit starstruck, if I must say.
I have
By
no
proxy.
idea why.
She's talking about me,
Oh,
Jen.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Not really.
yeah.
No, thank you
So
for showing up and being willing to talk.
yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple things today in regards
Mm.
to obviously the market, our current market, but a little bit more about you. I want to dive deeper into who you are, some about the agency, but there's a theme with the people that we're meeting with and talking with and befriending, um, and it has to do with success.
Yep.
Success means that different things to different people, and our goal is to try to spotlight who you are as a person because you emulate success not just on the business side but personally.
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of grit that is um, I guess born through personal experiences, right?
Also
And
ingrained too. I
ingrained,
think so.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and you were kind of before, I guess starting this in the green room, we'll call this the green room. We were sitting here
Yeah.
chatting, but you kind of talked about the personal side of it and like, okay, I can overcome this. I can take on anything. And so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I'm excited that you're here and we appreciate you coming down and
Yeah.
appreciate your friendship. So, but yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you came from and, you know, the agency, right?
Yeah.
What your capacity is with them.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm flattered, kind of blushing a little bit, feeling a little heat here. Um, I do want to say and touch on the synergy between the agency and Movement Mortgage and the giving back
Yeah.
aspect. And um, I know that's important to you guys. It's important to us, and that's what brought us together.
Hmm.
So thank you for that. Who am I? I'm a mom. I have a 27-year-old son. I have a 25-year-old daughter, Jordan. Jordan has autism and she will live with me. I'm
Hmm.
also her caregiver and her best friend, and she's my hero.
Yeah.
So I'm married. My husband had 3 children previous to me, and we have a big growing family. Everybody's getting engaged and
Yeah.
having kids, and that's my happy place. And so I've been in real estate for almost 24 years, licensed and selling as a real estate broker. And before that, I did mortgage for about a year. I was awful. Absolutely awful. It wasn't for me.
It's boring, huh?
It's
Yeah,
so
it was,
boring.
I'm not a, no, that's your lane. It's
Yeah.
not mine. And then I worked in title in my 20s for
Okay.
6 years. I was a title rep, and that was super fun because back
Yeah.
then we just skied and golfed and, would go on river rafting trips and take people to lunch. And it was a lot of
Yeah.
networking, right?
Hmm.
Things that, sorry, title reps, you can't do now.
Yeah. Right.
And then I really got into real estate after saying that I never would. My father, my uncles, everybody in my family was in some sort of real estate or real estate development, builders, developers, etc. And I always just thought, I'll become a teacher or an actress or a lawyer or a talk show host. I never thought I would sell real estate. But when it came down to finding myself single um, with 2 small children,
Wow.
I wanted to be able to provide them with a lifestyle that I wanted for them,
Mhm.
for myself, all on my own. So I looked at different kind of jobs and whatnot, and I started gravitating back towards anything that had a personal connection. We talk about selling real estate, but you're not really selling, right?
Mhm.
And I wanted to be able to be there for my kids, make them breakfast, pick them up from school, put them
Yeah.
in bed. And so real estate checked so many boxes for me. And it's been the best career I could have ever asked for.
Hmm.
And I was able to do all those things. And now in this phase of my life, I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Wow. And I know real estate, you work hard. You work really, really hard. And then now you have your family, and not that you didn't have it before, but how do you juggle it all?
So it's it's not even about a typical day. So, for instance, I have a team meeting with my agent experience manager and my marketing account manager every Monday. We set our intentions for the week. We go over, what we needed to accomplish last week, where we
Yeah.
are, any updates, and that helps us stay on track. That weekly meeting. Tuesdays, I am always in the office. I am there all day and accessible for the brokers. So even if they don't have an appointment with me, they can come in and they know that I'm there.
Mhm.
That's when they might need help with their marketing strategies or something very specific. Otherwise, they can catch me 24/7, for any contract question. But that is the day that they can set an appointment with me. And I don't take appointments on that day outside of the office.
Gotcha.
My teammate who is in my sales business with me, we meet for an hour on that Tuesday every week to go over what we have to tackle and our clients. We
Yeah.
go through our client list and anything that
Mhm.
we may have going on. On Fridays, my daughter, I I want to be present for her, so
Mhm.
I've stopped taking appointments on Fridays with anyone.
Yeah.
I drive her to work.
Mhm.
She happens to work across the street from my office.
I love
So I
it.
get a few things done. She comes over at the end of the day when she's done with work, and then we have time together.
Yeah.
I'm usually doing an open house or showing on the weekend, and I
Mhm.
need that one day for us to focus as well.
Mhm.
That makes me happy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And I don't feel like I don't feel guilty like
Right.
I'm missing anything with anybody in there. My husband would say, "And could you include me in there?"
Oh,
Usually he has the same schedule as me, so we're meeting up at the end of the
yeah.
day. We'll take a walk and try to grab dinner a couple times a week where
Mhm.
neither of us have to cook. And
Yeah.
I just think that you've got to be able to say, "Okay, this is all right. Like I've
Mhm.
set this time, people will understand."
Mhm.
And they actually respect you for it.
Right.
They see that you have the discipline. I know people that work with me know exactly what they can expect from me.
Sure.
I send weekly updates and they
Yeah.
they go, "Okay, there's a discipline to
Yeah.
that."
Yeah.
Well, you have to have boundaries for yourself and your family and what you do because if you don't, then you're just going to run yourself into the ground,
Yeah.
right? So it's great that I need to do that. I need to do more of
No, and
that
that's what I
actually.
said.
Yeah.
We're as
Yeah.
we're growing and trying to do more.
Yeah.
Um, that is something we struggle with.
Mm. Yeah.
And working as a husband wife team, it's like we don't have to necessarily explain to our spouse like we're why we're working at 9 o'clock at night
Right. While you're taking that call
right
or
because
anything
she's
like
probably
that.
Mhm.
right there next to me anyway.
Right.
So there's a blessing side of it, but we also need to be able to carve out time to where okay we need to decompress a little bit. We need to
Right.
have some time for ourselves
Yeah.
together and in, on our own because yeah we're together 24/7, which
Mhm.
a lot of people are like that's kind of weird. How do you work with your your spouse? And it's like, well, how do you not?
Yeah.
And you say that often. It's like, how, I
How
mean,
do you
that's,
how do you
there's
do
no
life
one,
together? Like
right.
that's how
Mhm.
it
So
is.
it's just,
So
it's a natural flow there, but
mhm.
we feel like, okay, we still need to carve out time
Yeah.
and it's being intentional. And one thing that I think we've done very well working with our clients is, as we, and you probably appreciate this. I mean, as you're talking to someone, you're explaining, here's what you can expect from me. Here's all the services I'm going to do for you, right? Here's the expectations. So let's set those right now.
Mm.
But here's what I expect from you. That's the difference. That's the pivot that we've made.
Yeah.
We will do all this, but this is our expectation of you. We're going to do all this work for you. We're going to work on the weekends, evenings. That's when real estate happens. We just look for loyalty. If you see the value in what we're bringing, we should have enough value to where if you see flashing light over here where a rate is maybe a little bit lower because it's advertised rate, that you're not going to shop us after we just spent 3 hours talking to the listing agent, getting your offer accepted, right? And working over the weekend and taking time away from our family. And it's happened several times. So I realized, okay, it's not fair to them if I don't set that expectation, but I don't want to have any resentment or frustration with them if because it's on me. If I didn't tell them this is what I
Mm.
expect from you, that's on me. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'll have that expectation set and have that
Mhm.
conversation with them, and so I'm like, wow, I yeah, no, I get that, I see it. Others like, okay, well, let me do the shopping now, and some I don't hear from, and that's I'm not upset about it. They found this is who is better. They want it. That's what that fit was better, I guess, over here. There's no harm, no foul in that situation, and so
Yeah.
that's one pivot where we're not dragging that. negative experience based on the fact that we set the wrong expectations because we didn't explain the expectation initially. And so the boundary piece of it, back to what you're talking about, I think it's critical. And uh, we need to probably emulate what you're doing.
Yeah.
As our kids are getting older, they're with their friends. So we're trying to find time to where, okay, have mom and dad time. One's gonna be leaving the house here
Yeah.
in September for college, and the other one is following pretty quick. So we're trying to hang on to time because we can't get that back. But I think what you're doing as far as setting those boundaries and the time management and blocking is huge. So
Yeah. I think it's interesting, we're talking about age a little earlier, and
mhm,
the older you get, you realize how quickly time goes by. Now
Yeah.
you're going to be empty nesters, or,
Mhm.
you just it's more precious. And, part of that, we said, okay, I'm intentional with my time, but I also set my intentions. And
yep,
at the beginning of the year, I asked every broker in my office to give me their mantra for the new year. Mine was health before wealth,
mhm,
because that was I needed to keep that focus.
Sure.
Somebody else used the word simplicity. Simplicity. She had overcomplicated her business, and she has two young children, and she wants to be able to, be more intentional with her time. So she had to simplify. Another broker in our office said, trust. I only want to work with people that trust me and trust the process.
yep,
And she had gone through a lot of experiences last year where she had put herself out to work with somebody. Um, and that wasn't really somebody that she wanted to work with or she should have worked with. I'll leave it at that.
sure,
But
Sure.
I only want to work with people that are kind,
Yeah.
mhm,
that have a spirit of giving back, that do trust me as well in the process. And when we match and there's synergy there, I've noticed that I start attracting other people like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's true. I mean, and you mentioned this, and we'll kind of pivot a little bit, but with Jordan having autism, there's vulnerability there, but there's a lot of strength in that.
Yeah.
I used to do some coaching for a brokerage where it was dual career agents. So someone that was trying to get out of their 9 to 5 and into real estate. And there was a broker. She was very quiet, very shy, and she would literally say maybe 2 words. And so I was, it was another coach and myself. And one day, it was probably 2 months into this, she said maybe 3 words the entire time. Seriously. He goes, "Hey, I have another appointment. Do you mind taking the health and wealth segment over tomorrow since you're going to be there in the morning?" And I'm sitting up front and I hear this person, "Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about this." And I'm like, who the hell just walked in the room?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her kind of probably awkward because she's talking to me and like, or she's talking, but looking at me like, why are you staring at me? Like, creep, stop. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm not trying, no disrespect. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And she's like, "Well, um, yeah, I've had to deal with health. I have MS, and so I deal with it all the time. I know it
Yeah.
backwards and forwards." And I'm like, "Okay." So last week we were talking about our market, how we're going to put ourselves out there. There's a million agents out there right now. So what makes you different? I go, "You own this. You understand it, and you can be vulnerable."
Yeah.
How many people have MS? She knows it off the top of her head. How many people that have MS that need to buy and sell a home? I go, why don't you start joining some support groups and pouring into them and providing value? She joined like 3 different groups. She's part of this team now. I mean, and she's doing well. But she put herself out there where she thought it was kind of a hindrance, or like she was kind of, but
Yeah.
she knew that she was able to help someone. That's why she had so much compassion and power behind that. And she being vulnerable, there was a lot of impact that she could have based on people that, wow, she has exactly what I have, or what my child has, or my husband has. Eh, People are always looking for something that they can relate to, and having that, I think the fact that you're sharing that about Jordan, I think is amazing. One, it's a gift, in my opinion. I mean, autism, there's different levels of that, right? And I'll let you explain maybe what that is with her, but they have a mind that's fascinating. I mean, I have we have some friends that their child has
Mhm.
autism, and they do things differently, but almost perfectly, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so it gives you a different perspective, gives us different perspective. Like, here's someone that, you hear that term, it's like, okay, well, it's this. Well, it's not that. It's so much more. You sharing that, I would imagine that resonates with people that are going through that exact same thing. I mean, the trust is built, so that vulnerability is giving you strength to where you're building trust at a different level versus let me help you buy and sell real estate. It's I can help you because I'm caring for Jordan. I understand it.
You're living it.
You're living it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That that resonates with people. It resonates with us. I mean, so
100%.
I think that, in anything, when you've had a challenging situation or something as life changing as that, Jordan was diagnosed at about 3.5, very late. Nobody
mhm,
could figure it out because she was a girl, and girls didn't,
Right.
20 some years ago, they just didn't associate autism with
right.
girls, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember that literal life changing moment that whatever I thought my life was going to be,
Mm.
it was over. And there's a grief associated,
Yep.
right? A lifelong grief that kind of comes in waves with that process. But there was just so many things that didn't matter anymore. Small stuff,
Yeah.
Sure.
parents getting upset because their kids didn't make like soccer. I couldn't relate to that. I couldn't relate to gossip. I couldn't things in our world changed so much. But for about the first, gosh, 15 years maybe, I couldn't talk about it. I didn't want people to approach me. I wasn't ready. I was so in it, just trying to help my child. Then you kind of go through different phases of life. And I have a friend, Noelle, and she has a son who has autism, and we have conversations a lot. And she's been through some other adversities in her life, and she's speaks about those. And we just realize it's sort of like who came before us helped us.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then
Right.
once we got to the point where we could share our stories and open up about it, then all of a sudden people would come to us for help.
Hmm.
And one of the biggest things I can remember that happened in that sharing your story was I was on Bainbridge Island. I had a broker at that time come up to me and say, Jen, didn't your daughter go to a school for autism in New York City? I have a friend. She's devastated. She's sitting in a doctor's office in New York City, and her son was just diagnosed with autism. Could you call her? I don't know what to say to her. So I was able to call her and said, I'm going to call and connect you with this woman. You're in New York. You actually have the best care in the world right now here. And she sent me a note later. It makes me emotional
Sure.
that her child got into the Rebecca school.
That's
So
awesome.
if
Wow.
if I didn't share that story, but I had told Rob recently, I said, it's funny, my husband and I were talking and he said, you used to always talk about autism. You were always promoting autism awareness and whatnot. What happened, Jen? And I said, I think during the pandemic, we were all just so isolated and there was
Mhm.
Yeah.
all these things going on
Mhm.
that I didn't have the opportunity. And so, as you know, returning the corner, April is Autism
Yeah.
Awareness Month.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And there's so many discussions to
Right.
have about it. So thank you for just even letting me highlight that in a small way. I saw
Absolutely.
you get really
Yeah, I know it
emotional.
does because anything with children,
Yeah,
I love kids,
you can
and
relate.
yeah, right. And
Yeah.
now you're a beacon. You're a pillar that can help other people, and like your friend reached out to you, like it it's beyond what your reach, right? What you say and what you put out there, it's gonna go so much further, and it just makes you that much more of a person that people can relate to, and like there's kindness and and I can't even put it to words that like okay, I feel like I can trust this person. And when we walked into the agency, into that office, you could feel it.
Mhm.
It's in the frequency is in that building, that your kindness is there and you feel so welcome and like this feels good in here,
Mhm.
and I
Thank
think
you.
that's what draws people to you, and why everybody, your group, all your agents in there, they love you and they speak so highly of you, and they feel it. You feel it. So,
Oh, well, we have that rule number one,
yeah. Yes.
and so that really helps in our hiring
Yeah.
process, but they
Yeah.
know what they mean to me. And,
Yeah.
Jordan is my hero.
Yeah.
And no matter what I do, it's
Yeah.
funny that this just kind of hit me, but when I was thinking about opening the agency and, I have a partner, Jason, and we're having the conversation. Should we do this, not do this? Do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
What am I doing? This is going to be a lot of work. I'm just coming out of the pandemic. I'm selling. I already have a full-time job.
Yeah.
My family took me aside and my son was kind of the person to say, "Mom, we've talked about this and, you've made all these sacrifices in your career choices and in your life for Jordan. This is your time. And if you don't go after
Wow.
your dreams now, you're never going to. And we will pick up the slack and we will be here for you. It's the right time and it's the
Wow.
right company."
Oh,
And I looked at Jordan and I thought, you need to see your mommy go for it
yeah.
because you get up every single day and you do
Mhm.
the really, really hard
Yeah.
stuff. And if I don't, then I'm playing small and then I'm putting that on her. And I can't do that.
Sure.
Like she literally makes me want to get up and try harder. And I'm so fortunate that I have a family
Yeah.
like that that would get behind me and be like, Mom, jump off the cliff, do the hard stuff,
Yeah.
go,
We're rooting for you.
yeah.
Gosh, I love that. Oh.
Not to be corny or cliche, but it's that hero's arc, in my opinion. Everyone's looking for that story that it resonates with them. Like overcoming something is really what we're trying to do. I mean, life is hard enough as it is, and showing the fact that I succeeded in spite of, right, all these things that are against you. I'm going to overcome this. And as we were kind of starting this out, I told you we are going to dive in a little bit deeper into that piece of it. But success is different for everyone. And Alvina and I, when we first met you, I mean, Joey did the introduction. I love him.
Yes.
He's a sweetheart.
It's great.
Um, but it's like you can, to Alvina's point, you can feel frequency, right? And we're in a situation where we've overcome some loss in our life. Cancer's decimated some loved ones, and it's a passion of ours. Having gone through that, it's so profound that you want to make sure that no one else is going through it, or they don't feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And sharing the fact that Jordan has autism, and this is what you do as a profession,
Yeah.
it breaks down so many barriers to where I just want to know you as a person, and if you can help me with my real estate, that's amazing, right? Because the trust is already built. You're laying it out there. It's like, this is who I am, this is my life, and here are my passions. Again, we have a duty. I feel honestly that you have to share who you are so people can see it. You have to be that lighthouse, that is constantly going, and you don't know who you're saving, but you're saving people, right? And some might tell you, and others may not. But the fact that someone is going to hear you on this and see you
Yeah.
on this, and you may never know them or ever see them or talk to them, they may never comment, at least gives them like strength, like, wow, she did it. I
Yeah.
can do it,
Hmm.
right? The fact that you step in with, you step into a 100% commission role with two little ones on your own kind of tells me, your who you are as a person, your grit and tenacity. I mean, that's a big leap of faith. You're betting on yourself,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that in a way is kind of the middle finger to a lot of things in life, which
Okay, I like
which
this.
which
We're
which we
gonna pick
which
it
we
up
love,
here.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Let's
again,
go.
we can talk about real estate and
Yeah.
mortgage and put everyone to sleep.
Yeah.
We do an amazing job closing loans, getting people in a home. You do an amazing job helping them buy and sell,
Yeah.
right? That's the given, right? It's who we are as a
Mhm.
person and how the synergy is amongst us. And you talked about the agency of movement. I mean, we wouldn't be with this company as husband and wife where we're all in back, betting on ourselves if it wasn't the absolutely perfect place, right place. 100% owned by, no, not, yeah, 100% owned by a foundation.
Yeah.
49% of our profits goes through the foundation back to the communities, and we've talked about this.
Hmm.
We're building schools for the underserved. We're building schools and health centers for areas that have been absolutely decimated. And that means something to us. At some point, we will be able to give you, Jen Cameron, or anyone in the agency, a report that says, here is your impact by using us.
Mhm.
And then the clients that use us, that you refer to us, they'll see on their monthly statements, here's how many kids you helped with your mortgage. Here's how many meals that you sponsored
Yeah.
with the mortgage that you close with Movement. We still can do traditional mortgage, but it's mortgage that means more. And that's what we're pushing out right now. So being the number one impact lender in the world, Alvina and I, our goal, putting it out there, is we want to be the number one impact loan originators within that company. And that might not be volume. That might be the impact that we have just on our local community with, awareness, autism awareness, food banks. We're doing a ton of stuff with local food banks. Food security is a big thing for us right now.
Yeah.
Addiction, recovery. There's a
Mm.
lot of stuff that we're doing, and we're introducing and spotlighting people that are successful, that have overcome addiction and food insecurity and all these things that made it their passion. It's
Mhm.
not about just the mortgage. It's about the relationships and the connections and being able to help people. So that was a big mouthful, but I just, I get passionate about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell the register, but I mean, there's a frequency that you're putting out that we're on, and we realize that there's going to be people in life that we're all running in the same direction, the same race. There's no reason why we can't run the same race together, right? And help each other out and support it and compound the impact that we're going to have on the community.
I
Mhm.
love that word, compound effect. I'm fortunate. I married someone whose whole life is about service. Scott, he supports ALS through a charity
Mhm.
called Augie's Quest. He sponsors a golf tournament every year. He is one of the most incredibly supportive and giving people to everyone
Wow.
that he knows and meets. And um, synergy is important.
Mhm.
Sometimes you do something you think, okay, I'm going to partner up with this or that organization or person or what. For me, this brand,
Yeah.
I remember I had just given my notice that I was leaving my last firm. I was going to the Inman Real Estate Conference
Yeah.
in New York City, and I was going to meet everyone from the agency for the first time. I had never met Mauricio Amansky. I had met his partner, Billy Rose, in Beverly Hills
Yeah.
before I joined when I was down there taking meetings. But so there's all these people there, and they had this beautiful agency happy hour rooftop uh, kind of networking thing. And the backdrop was the Empire
Mm.
State Building, and they were, just it was very
That's
beautiful.
cool.
Yeah.
Mauricio gets up to give a speech, and he kind of jumps up on this bench, and he's got the backdrop of the building back there and all the lights, and it was incredible. And I thought, what is he going to say? And he got up and he just said, guys, selling houses is what we do, and we do it really well, and
Mhm.
we sell a lot of houses.
Yeah.
But that is not what's important. What is most important is the good that you put back in the world. So, what good are you going to do?
Wow.
And I was done. I knew I was in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right place at the right
Yeah.
time. So, we all have the ability to make an impact. We all have the ability to make a difference. But we broaden that net, let's say, that we cast out when we share our stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
and as feel good as that is, right? I mean, so at the end of the day, you still have to perform. You still have to be the
Yes.
best
Yes, I
Yes.
agent.
need to make
So,
Yes.
money.
well,
That's
and
how you, that's
and,
your vehicle to help,
right.
Yeah.
right? To help
And the
people.
reason why I'm bringing that up is so there's some pretty notable people that you've worked with. Um, one being Oprah,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I was involved in the listing and the sale of Oprah's home on Orcas Island.
Yeah.
Yes. First with the
No
person she
pressure.
bought it from, and then when I sold it recently, representing the buyer. So, yes,
So twice.
Wow.
twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Wow.
that's huge. And then there's been
Yeah.
another one just recently I'll let you touch on with the Chicago Bulls.
Yes, I did just represent the listing on a property that was owned by Zach Levine.
Mhm.
That one is extremely, it's just such an honor because he's such a hometown hero
Yeah.
to
Wow.
come from here and to have the success he's had out there with the NBA, and to think that you're even in that realm of, representing someone who is just such an incredible person and
Mhm.
somebody that's so iconic in Seattle. That's an honor.
Yeah.
That's
That's awesome.
incredible.
You
Yeah.
sold it in one day?
Um,
2 days?
well, within hours of coming on the market, this was actually just this week.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we had
You probably haven't come back from
we had
that
a
yet. You're
no,
still
I'm still in the
right?
midst of it. I think we
Right.
just got it signed around last night. But yeah, people say, okay, how do you sell a house in one day? Let me tell you, you do not stick a sign in the
No.
yard and say
Yeah.
open guys, it's that took months and months of preparation, and we had a well thought out marketing strategy and plan for day one,
Yep.
and it was teed up and it was ready to go, and it absolutely delivered the results that we wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very exciting.
That's impressive. I mean, we work with several
Mhm.
agents and um, typically by choice, we don't want to work with someone that doesn't align value wise.
Hmm.
And the ones that do very, very well are very, very intentional. Like we're not going to just throw up the sign and hold it open and maybe have someone, sit the open for us and trying to, no, it's strategic. Like here's how we're going to approach the market and we're going to kill it. And yeah, I mean, you don't sell Oprah's house twice and Zach Levine's house in a day.
In a day or two
In ours.
without all
In
the
No,
hours,
work.
pretty
but you know
much,
Yeah.
what it
without
is?
it.
I work my ass off.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
am not a lazy
Yeah.
broker, and I have the experience behind me. I'm brought into a lot of situations where either somebody wasn't able to sell the home,
Mhm,
and so they've called
Yeah.
me and said, "Okay, we've already been on the market. How do we get the job done?" I have the confidence to be honest with
Yeah.
people
mhm.
and very direct. And well, I'm an autism mom and I lived in New York City for
Right.
4 years, so I can do direct really
Yeah.
well. But I
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
so,
Yeah.
but in that
Your poor husband.
conversation,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, he would tell you when I met her, she scared me, and
That's
it
funny.
took me a while to get used to her style, and now I love it, right?
Yeah.
So, Scott, somebody empathizes with you. Um, but in the process when it comes to assessing a home and what needs to get done, I 90% of what I do is well before it
Mm,
launches. And I get that feeling when I show up and we've done all the work, we've pre-inspected, we've made the repairs. I have the most loyal team you can imagine of painters, contractors, handymen, um, that I have worked with for, so many years. I can't count anymore, that will show up when I need them. And part of my magic sauce is my stager,
mhm,
John Rosichelli, RD Interiors,
Love it.
my magic maker. And we make magic together. We've worked together for so long that we know each other, we can read each other, we can read a home. And once it goes to launch, I'm standing there and all my marketing's ready to go. When we launch it, um, I know that we're gonna have
Yeah.
success. I can
mhm,
feel it. I can look at what we've done and almost read what should happen in that moment. But we do so much. We just
Yeah.
on both of our listings this week, we had cinematic reels and then we had,
mhm.
the full video and then we had the fun reels and all these things. And, we really put ourselves out there and put energy into it. Now, that also translates into more business,
Yep.
because
Sure.
people see that we'll go to any lengths
Yeah.
to really create that buzz and energy around that home. And if we have success, then why wouldn't they want to call up and use us again?
Mhm.
Right. Well, and you don't sell that kind of, maybe, I hope this doesn't sound mad, that caliber of home or, client without working your ass off, right? Like you could tell, like Jen works.
Well, I
Jen,
think kind of what you're saying is
yeah,
there's an expectation there.
sure.
There's a high
Yeah.
expectation and you
Yeah.
have to meet it. You have to have the ability to troubleshoot. You have to be able to solve problems.
Hmm.
You have to be able to carry yourself in a way that you can communicate with business managers and caretakers and attorneys and a whole team
Yeah.
there. Yes, there are people that sell a lot more luxury than me, and I like to translate that into every single price point
Yeah.
and property type. So if someone comes to me and says, "Gosh, you sold Oprah's house. Why should I work with you? My home's 8,000, 800,000
Yeah.
and, it's 2,500 square feet." I would say, "You should work with me because I'm going to do everything for you that I did for them."
Right.
Mhm.
Now, maybe your home won't make Mansion Global because it's not appropriate and you don't need global exposure, but we're going to make sure everybody knows that your house
Yeah.
is on the market and
Mhm.
that you look amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people want.
Yeah.
They want to feel that
Right.
they're going to be cared for,
Mhm.
they're going to feel important. We were talking
Mm.
earlier, I strongly feel nobody deserves a fee, nobody deserves a commission. You earn your
Yeah.
commission, you
Mhm.
earn your fee. So, what are you willing to do for that?
Yeah.
Right. And then your seller should have a different experience than maybe they had before because they see that it's not true what they say that a real estate broker just sticks a sign in the
Right.
yard and
Right.
some iPhone pics out there.
Oh gosh.
Come on, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's some bad picks,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, and then, setting that up, um, you're setting the expectation that there's a certain level of quality that doesn't matter what price point it is, it's got to be to this quality, right?
Mhm.
So to your point, bringing in the experts to get it to where it's perfect to be able to list and get top dollar, I think that says a lot because let's just be real. I mean, there isn't a lot of inventory right now. With rates that, having gone up and all the volatility with that. I mean, the buyer pool is, most of them are sitting on the sidelines. Um, so people are desperate to sell. I feel like right now the market is people that are buying and selling. It's all based on life events. Whether it's death, divorce, marriage, kids, whatever, job transfer, whatever.
Mhm.
Because people are kind of embedded into probably a really low interest rate, and if they don't have to sell, they're probably not going to. Right? There's got to be some event. So being able to navigate through all that and then still have something sell at that level within a matter of hours is impressive in this market.
I think, people like I touched on having done mortgage loans before,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That 1 year of my career, I was doing loans at 10 and 12%.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's be reasonable.
Right.
We
This
were,
is
what are we in the sixes right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is really good.
yeah.
uh,
Now, I know I have 2.5% on my home, but there's a point where I just want to get on with life.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
had clients that knew that they weren't going to capitalize at what they thought they were going to, but they were ready. They were empty nesters and they wanted to get to the desert.
Yeah.
And so, we worked through it, whatnot. They got their home sold. I'm pretty sure they're living their best life right
Right.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So there
Mhm.
is that too. So I think markets like this make me so happy
Mhm.
because whenever there's a challenge, you know what happens? Half the industry drops out.
Yep.
Anybody who thinks that this is easy gets in when it's good
Right.
and then they fall out.
Mhm.
And that's what kind of clears it out. So,
Yeah.
I know.
A little shake up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Little
You can
shake
actually
up.
start to see there's some distance now between everyone. I mean, the mortgage market, I mean, attrition's probably 43%. I think I last read. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, 40 out of every 100 people are out. And were they in for the right reason? I don't know. I'm sure there's some people that were in maybe a situation that they had to leave, but I think some of them just got in for the wrong reasons. And so there's, we're not overly um, upset about the fact that we're going through this. It's
Hmm.
just, it's a time for opportunity and time for
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And same
Definitely
with,
growth.
yeah. So
Definitely
same with
growth.
the real estate side. I mean, the ones that do great business are still really busy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're on
And
fire
Yeah.
right now.
You.
My
yeah,
team is
Yeah.
doing so much. I mean, Ollie just listed a great Bellevue condo this morning, and I looked at him
I
and I
know.
was like, that
Wow.
presentation is amazing. You're
That
going to have
dude that
tons of
dude
traffic.
is yeah,
He's on fire,
yeah, I've
right?
talked to him a couple times. His story is actually really impressive too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, that's kudos to you because you're attracting that talent.
Mhm.
He's not from this area and he acts like he knows everyone.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Well, he
know.
does.
He does
Like
He
now. He
does
does
he's
now,
now,
he's
right?
but
like the gentle giant.
he
He's just
is.
like a
But
teddy bear and he just brings everybody to him.
yeah, no,
And he's funny.
yeah,
Like we met and I had no idea how funny he is. He
yeah.
tons of dad jokes. I mean, they're terrible, but he makes them funny.
I
So,
love it.
yeah.
So you just realized you encouraged him for more dad jokes,
Oh,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, because I
Yeah,
laugh at him and then
yeah,
he wants to tell me more dad jokes, right?
yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's No, the people that we got to meet at your office, I mean, the brokers are all uh, uniquely amazing. I
Mhm.
mean, everyone has a strong suit, and you can see their who they are and how they market themselves. But you can tell the synergy. I mean, back to what
Right.
we were just saying, it's in your 10 rules, which maybe we can post those 10 rules and blur
Yeah.
out the very first one. But
Or
it's
not.
or
No
not,
I
way.
like
or
No
it.
way. Put
bold
it
that.
out
Let's
there.
put it
The
out
whole
there.
world should live by rule number 1. Am I
Right?
allowed to say it?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
agency rule number 1 is no assholes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually have a t-shirt with that on it and I love wearing that t-shirt because I kind of forget that I'm wearing it. And then
Yeah.
people come up to me in the grocery store or whatever and go, oh, I love your t-shirt. Where can I get it? And I'm like, agencymerchandise.com or something. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably don't have that correct, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
That's really important, right? Is
Yeah.
surrounding yourself by people that are like-minded. I can go into Beverly Hills or Denver or anywhere, any agency office, and know that I have friends
Mhm.
because in this company, it's energetic, it's collaborative, it's kind, it's giving back, and people are really alive. I
Mhm.
love that. It's been the most exciting time in my career coming out of a pandemic and being surrounded by energy again. But I know that I have friends there
Right.
because we're like-minded. You
Mhm.
wouldn't be here
Mhm.
if you didn't have some of these same ideals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's props to Mauricio on that, right? I mean, he set this up um, from the ground up, right? He didn't necessarily have to, but I think he's someone that wanted to have some change in the world and in the industry. Can you what's how did you when did you first meet him? Was it in New York or what?
Yeah, so I no, 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 no. Actually, it wasn't. Oh, I have to go way back. Mauricio Umansky, if you ever heard this, don't forget I gave you my card and you never called me. But I was watching, the agency launched, and
Mhm.
obviously Mauricio Umansky has he has celebrity attached to him. His business partner, Billy Rose, who he founded the company with, is amazing, brilliant. Um, I love Billy. He'll just send me a text that he saw something I did and wants to acknowledge me, and it'll just make
That's
my
awesome.
day.
Yeah.
But
Great.
I was the first time I met Mauricio was actually in Seattle. He came here to speak at a real estate thing,
Huh.
and he got up and did his thing. And I thought, the agency, okay, I'm gonna just have to watch, and they and whatnot. So fast forward years later, I'm in an Inman conference and I make my way through the throngs of people surrounding him and said, hey, if you ever come to Seattle, here's my card. Give it to whoever your people are,
Yeah.
who
Mhm.
that might be. I thought it would be a company owned office. I didn't know they would franchise, right?
Right.
But then throughout the process, as I investigated the company, I was so drawn to the energy that leapt out from even social media,
Mhm.
watching, and then the marketing that they had. It was
Mhm.
making me crazy because these companies would say, we're not your, grandpa's Oldsmobile of real estate companies. I'm like, you look like it, but
Yeah.
they don't. What
Yeah.
Right.
what is their
Right.
thing?
It's
Why is it stand
incredible.
out? Why is it calling me? And then I would see like an echo of something they said. Maybe something was on my personal website where I went, but I say that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I resonate when I met Billy Rose and he talked to me about why they established the agency and why they wanted brokers not to have to just recreate everything that they were doing from their marketing perspective and their personal brands was to create a company that was more relevant today, right?
Mhm.
And Mauricio talked about this at Inman that our marketing is geared towards next generation. It's
Mhm.
forward,
Mhm.
it's fashion forward, it's sassy, it's relevant, it's interesting, it's red. I mean, we're
Yeah.
very
Yes. Right.
bold,
Yes.
right?
We're partially red.
Right. We're
Yeah.
partially red.
Yeah.
Well, we have the exact branding colors,
Yep.
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So is
So
that why eight? I'm sorry.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say it was energy. And then the defining moment was I was at a different firm and I was at their real estate company and we were in a conference in New York and the agency was having their conference in Palm Springs at the same time. And I kept scrolling on my phone and I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing? My husband looked at me and he said, if you keep watching what they're doing and you wish you were there, you should probably
Let's
commit
go.
and
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
And so I came home and I called them up and I said, I'm ready. Let's do this. And
Okay.
That's
that was
awesome.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
it was like a 10-year watching,
Yeah.
wishing and
Washing,
hoping.
stocking, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Stalking for sure.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that you just answered why the agency, why now, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that took care of that. I have a question,
Yeah.
and it's kind of been answered along the way, but direct answer of what makes Jen tick.
Ooh, what makes me tick?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. My family, first and foremost, my dogs, because they're like children.
Yeah.
My niece, my nephew, my stepkids, my kids. Anytime I am with them all together, there's nothing that makes me happier. Helping other people. I just I find that I'm less depressed. I'm happier. I feel more confident when I'm helping other people.
Yeah.
So
Like
pretty simple
yeah.
answer.
No, that's good. Yeah,
Ice
it
cream.
motivates you. Ice cream, yeah.
Yeah. Ice cream,
Motivates you.
wine, and what was the other?
Chocolate,
It was
right?
coffee,
Coffee.
Coffee.
red
That's right.
Yeah.
wine,
Yep.
and ice cream
Yes.
or gelato.
Not
Like
necessarily in that order though, right? I mean, or all at the same time.
Yeah.
I could do them all at the same time and
Yeah.
have no problem with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, know what we're
24/7.
doing this afternoon then.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Jen, thank you so much
Yes.
for taking the time to come down here. I know it's a little bit of a trek for you, but no, it takes a lot and says a lot about someone to come down and be vulnerable and share their experience, both personally and professionally. And so we're blessed to have you in our lives and
Yeah.
the opportunity to pour into you and your team. We don't take this lightly. So thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you
down.
guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go do good shit together.
That's right. I love it.
Done.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Oh,
We're going to keep that
I
in
made
there.
it so far without any of the
He,
bad
he
words.
doesn't have like the 7-second dump button on the radio. So.